I'm going to demo this stuffed pepper recipe. The first thing we're going to do is make sure our oven is preheated to 425. Then you're going to make sure you also have your baking sheet, your spoon, and some foil, and a bowl. You're going to need a bowl for mixing. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is make the filling. And to do that, we're just going to toss in all of the stuff, basically. So we're going to put in our oil, our celery, our beans, our rice, our spices, and our tomatoes. You can either use crushed tomatoes. That's what I prefer using. The texture is just a little bit different than sauce. You can use sauce too. You can also use puree. Really, it's up to you. I generally speaking use whatever I have lying around the house. So we're just going to mix this up. I like this celery because it adds a little bit of crunch. So when we cook the peppers will be soft, and then the rice and beans will be soft. And then just to prevent it from just being one big pile of mush, I like to add in a little bit of celery. And sprinkle some salt in, about 3 pinches. I am using beans that I cooked myself, so there's no salt added into my beans. If you're using canned beans, you may want to add a little less salt because your beans already have salt added in from the canning process. And I generally recommend trying to get either low salt or no salt added beans because it does help cut back on that sodium. Canned beans can be a place that sodium starts creeping into our dinner. So one way to try to keep that out is by buying things that are labeled low salt. But always, always, always read the nutrition facts. Okay, so now we are going to get our peppers ready. You can spray, or I'm just using a little sprinkle of oil. I'm just gonna oil that. Your pan, if you have a sheet pan, that works. I'm using this cake pan because it makes it a little bit easier to cover it up, which we're gonna do later. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take each pepper that I've already cut in half, opened up with all the membrane, taken out all the seeds, and we're just gonna scoop in the filling. The reason I like to spray the pan is because you are gonna get these like little drops of filling that fall out, and that's fine. But this way it doesn't stick to the pan, so it's a little easier to clean up. And that's it. We're just going to fill this up and go through all of our peppers. Fill them up. If you choose the most symmetrical peppers and the biggest peppers, it will make your peppers a little bit easier to stand up on their own. If you're having problems having your peppers stand up on their own, then you can always try and have them support each other. So kind of like put them all next to each other. Like this one's a little lopsided, so I'm going to stack them up like that. And then just put the last pepper in. You may have some filling left over. That is intentional. You can always just hold on to that and serve it on the side. Once you have your peppers all stuffed up, you can just take the cheese. I'm using cheddar cheese, but you can use whatever kind of cheese you have lying around your house. And it's just about a finger's worth. So I'm just pinching and then sprinkling and pinching and sprinkling. And again, you're going to get little droplets of cheese that fall down. It's okay. Those are delicious to eat after when they're all baked up. It's like this little cheese fries or cheese chips, or I don't know. They're really good. Okay. So now I'm just about ready to put it all in the oven. So I'm going to spray another piece of foil. This is actually really important. Okay, so I'm going to spray this foil. And then what I'm going to do is make sure that my peppers are sealed up. Now the reason I'm spraying it is so that the melted cheese does not get stuck to the top. Because then when you open up your peppers and you take the foil off, all of the delicious melted cheese comes up and then you don't get to eat any of it. So I'm going to make sure that it's sealed in here. The steam from the peppers will help it cook. And once it's sealed, this is also why I like using a cake pan. It's a little bit easier to seal it than it is if you were just using a sheet pan. But if you don't have a cake pan, a sheet pan works too. Then they just go into the oven for 25 minutes, and then our peppers will be nice and soft. The filling will be cooked, the cheese will be melted, and the celery will still be that nice little crunch.